Hey guys, it's about 12 minutes before 10 right now. Before we talk about the weather, this podcast from this afternoon, I'm telling you, I had no idea that was going to happen. For goodness sakes, that was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And that is a prime reason why I am very isolated in myself, is because of things like that. It first of all, it irritates me, and then of course I don't, then I get into this anxiety of, oh my God, if one person does that, will more people start doing it, and it gets escalated to the point to where I don't know what to do. So that's a prime reason why I'm very unsocial, is because of stuff like that. So, just wanted to explain about that for a second, and also say that, if it offended anybody, I'm sorry. But I was, to be honest with you, very offended by that. But, you guys are really, like I said, you guys are all very awesome about, watching my forecasts and stuff like that. And thank you very much. So let's get to the weather right now. Hazardous weather outlook. I don't know about you guys, but my lips are wicked chapped. I mean, this dry weather has been like just drying my lips up like no tomorrow. Well, guess what? This stuff is going to continue onward, and we are going to get this for the rest of the week and into the weekend. Very little precipitation, breezy conditions, low humidities. So, if you're going to be planning on doing any fires this weekend during the nighttime hours, hey, family's going to be coming for Easter. Why don't we just go outside and hang out by the fire? Sounds good to me. Well, if you're going to do that, just be very careful about that. Don't go overboard, because there could be some embers that will be flying from the fire, and then it can get out of control, and then guess what? We have a big situation on our hands, and it will become a very unpleasurable Easter. So, don't make it unpleasurable. So, of course, but be careful out there. But other than that, looks great. I think we all will be really enjoying the nice weather that's going to be on tap for us. Now, practically Good Friday, Saturday, and Easter look fabulous. We'll say 55 to 60 degrees for the whole entire long weekend. Tomorrow will be nice. Just get out there and enjoy it. And, of course, during the nighttime hours, it will be getting cold. Tonight will be into the low to mid-30s. Tomorrow will be into the 20s. Friday night will be into the 20s. Tomorrow during the day will be very warm. We'll be into the mid to upper 50s. But then during the nighttime hours, when we get into 20s yet again Friday night. Saturday night, we'll be getting another frost. Sunday night, we have a chance of a frost around here. And then yet again, Monday night, Tuesday night is when we get a chance of some rain or snow around, particularly along and north of the Pike is where we get the rain and snow mixture. Along and north of Route 2, have a good chance of maybe seeing an all-snow period of all snow. And then once you get up north of there, you could potentially see some actual accumulations. Around here, if we do get accumulations, it would be very light at this moment in time. But, of course, I'll have to continue to monitor future forecasts. Now, before we get into the actual model forecast, this is what again the NAO, what's happening with the NAO and the AO. Starting off with the NAO. This is, again, the predictions, and look at that. Okay, we go up just a tad. Okay, we go up just a tad, and that's when we're going to be into those 60s here. All right, and that's practically what's going on right now. After that, towards the beginning of next week and beyond, yeah. If you look there, look at that. If we go down like that, we might be talking about some intense storm systems, okay? The NAO, and I know I've tried to mention this many times. I tried to do it this afternoon with my podcast, and then, of course, I've mentioned it many times before. When the NAO goes down negative, it means a more active storm pattern, okay? You get more storms, which means more rain, more precipitation, all right? That's why we're starting to see a little bit more in the way of rain. Now, When you get into the AO, when you talk about the AO, this is more in terms of temperature. Look at how this is going to just be plummeting like a rock. Okay, what does that mean in terms of temperature? Get out the jackets and get out the coats, because it's looking like things are going to start getting cold around here. That area of the polar vortex is going to start dragging itself closer and closer to New England. And as that does so, temperatures are just going to plummet. We'll be generally talking at the best lower 50s, it looks like, if not 30s and 40s around here. So it's going to get kind of chilly. And actually, this was when we were last week. Remember, we had those lower 40s. Yeah, that was fairly nothing. We had this sorts of stuff. Look at the potential that we have of getting way down here. If we get way down here, that will be almost as cold as or almost as intense as what happened in February. Remember, we had an intense cool down in February? Polar Arctic cold. Okay, now remember, we're in April now, so we wouldn't be seeing teens for highs, but we would definitely be talking about 30s for highs, which is cold. We're talking cold stuff here. Because as you get more along, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know as you get closer to summer, the angle of the sun gets more direct on us. So when you get a negative AO like that, instead of getting the teens for highs, what you would get during the midwinter, or even the single digits or below zero for highs, you'll get the 20s or the 30s for highs, depending upon your location. This is a predicted forecast here. You can see that there's that, trough in the east. It's going to kind of be retrograde and north for the weekend, which is what's going to give us the warm weather. This is a predicted snowfall. Most of that snowfall could be staying up in Maine, but of course most of the good chances of snowfall will happen more closer to next week. This is a Canadian model, and you can see there's that trough digging, and then you can see there's that storm system I'm watching. And like I said, this is going to be an important key, because what's going to happen is this storm is going to come down like this, and then it's actually going to wrap up back in here. And how it wraps up exactly, whether it wraps up north like that, or whether it wraps up around here, or whether it wraps up here, really where exactly the storm wraps up back into New England, because it's actually going to be coming from the west to the east, or from the east to the west. It's going to be actually moving in the opposite direction, because there's blocking up in Canada. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow the storm to move back towards us. How intense this storm can be, and where it comes back into New England is going to be a major key. I do see a potential for some pretty good snows through Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Around here, like I said, there will be some rain along with some snow, maybe some coatings around here. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But you can see as it moves into New England, it starts to weaken. But essentially, it means cooler weather, and by next week, we'll only be talking about low to mid 50s for highs. And then you can see we get a little bit of a warm up, and then you can see the trough starts deepening again according to this particular model. This is the long range model, and as of right now, the GFS is saying that this little low, or the low that's going to wrap back up, is going to be way up in Canada, which means we will stay actually warmer than what was being originally predicted. But you can also see there will still be an enhanced shot of cooler air that will come down. You can see here's some precipitation being indicated. So if that happens, we're still going to get some coatings. So essentially that's what's going on. Okay, we do have some chances here. And then you can see as time moves on, there's that deep trough in the east. Okay, I'm still worried, because all it takes is a good old storm to form and then come up the coast, and we are going to be pounded with a snowstorm. It'll be practically all of next week. And then you can see this, but this is the best chance, I would say. Look at this storm that's fairly close to us, and look at how intense that precipitation is. All it takes is this thing to just work its way just a tad bit more to the north, and we will be pounded with some, whether it's rain or snow. But I do see rain in our forecast, and look at this absolutely intense system. North and South Dakota and Nebraska looks to be getting absolutely inundated with snow. I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago would get some snow by the time the end of this period comes around. And then, of course, what's funny is that this storm will be riding north, and then that will bring in the cooler air, which may allow for potential storm or some snow coming around towards the 20th. But that's still way, way out. There's still plenty of time for things to update. This is essentially the predicted snowfall, just moving right through time. Here is those possible snowfall amounts up in Maine. Wouldn't be surprised to see some potential 1 to 2 inch amounts, maybe even 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches of snow up into Maine. And then, of course, as time moves its way onward, there's the next chance of that. And then, of course, just moving through time here, here's that possible snow into portions of North Dakota. And then, of course, continuing to move through time, there's that really, really intense snow for out in portions of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, into portions of Colorado. They could be getting up over a foot of snow out into that region. And actually, look at that. That's really intense stuff. We're talking over a foot, like I said. And then, of course, that moves into our region. And what happens here in New England, well, that will eventually be determined through time. And, of course, there will be model updates as well. So stay tuned for more. And like I said, and actually tomorrow I'll be doing another video. I'll be doing another show. So, I'll be updating about. I will do my actual one tomorrow. Today was more of a practice run, just getting used to the program and all that sort of stuff. So, and not only that, but of course the very bad guy who was on from Minnesota. Whether he was from Minnesota or not, I don't know. But guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Take care, everyone.